So with 9.0, like I said, we get quiet mode now. We had quiet mode with the 1050 thermostats. Up until now, they had not put it into Link. Okay, so has a little bit of a new look. Testing locations are a little bit different. We have some nice, easy slide adjustments for adjusting the speed while we're running in test. One thing to note is all of the speeds are in RPS, rotations per second. Okay, well, RPM is RPS times 60, right? So the easiest way to do all of this setup is with the app. If you have not downloaded the Technician app, please do so. You can scan the QR code. This QR code shows up in install instructions, service facts. It's on the unit. So please download this app. It is much easier to manage setup on all Link systems through the app. All right. You will sign in through the app with your AS DealerNet or ComfortSight password. Okay, it looks something like this once you log in. Oops. All right, so you're going to connect to the system. Okay, so you're going to hit the connect to system. And when the systems are powered up, it's going to start looking for the system. Why is that not playing? Give me just a second here. There we go. So it's searching for the equipment. It's going to start to populate equipment. Okay. Now this is some test equipment at my house for the factory. And so as it populates the equipment, it gives me an idea of how strong it is. I can select the strongest signal and connect to it. It goes through this process. We have full access to everything. It's pulling all the data in from the unit. And we're going to go to configuration. We're going to go to energy. And you can enable quiet mode right here. You can also set your rotations per second right here. But I would recommend leaving them where they're at right now and adjusting it from test mode. So if we go into the test mode, scroll to the bottom, you'll see test quiet mode cool, test quiet mode heating. So I went into test quiet mode cool and it tells me right now I'm set for day at 99, night at 99. I told it to start. Now I have the slider. It's going to fire up the equipment and you can see at the bottom, it's showing actual compressor speed. Compressor hadn't fired up quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and stop the test so I can show you the test mode in heat. So we're going to scroll back down to test quiet mode heat. And it's the same thing. So while you're in the test and after the system fires up, you can actually adjust the slider to whatever speed you want. So if you're doing this for a sound test in the city of Seattle or surrounding areas that require this, you can have the inspector out there with their sound meter and you can start to dial that down as low as our 15 RPS, which 15 RPS is minimum speed for most of our units. So we can dial that down until the inspector is happy with the speed. And then we just save it. And it's as simple as that. So this is a really nice setup process from the app. It's very quick. You saw how quickly I did it. That was a screen record in real time when I was playing with it at my home. You can do it through the thermostat. So we're going to hit menu, service, press and hold technician access. The screen will not change when you press technician access. This throws people off a little bit. The 1050s, you used to have a little button color change on the screen to let you know you were touching it. The Link does not do that. So the technicians just have to press and hold for 5 seconds and have a little faith. Once they do that, we're going to have our caution screen that tells the homeowner, hey, if you're messing with this, we're going to send you a bill. So, we're going to go to configuration. We're going to go to energy, and we're going to enable quiet mode. Okay. Prior to 9.0 version, this is where we went to deal with all of our lockouts, our auxiliary heat lockout, our compressor lockout. Now it's going to be quiet mode, and then the lockouts will be down below. So we can enable enable quiet mode right here. And the daytime compressor speed, we can adjust that. And again, it's a simple slider. Touch the screen, slide it where you want it, or leave it, and we can adjust it and save it in test as well, which is where I'd recommend doing it. So we can adjust it. We can do the same thing in nighttime. Now, one thing I want you to understand is nighttime compressor speed, the default is minimum compressor speed. So if you enable quiet mode and you don't adjust this at night, it will run at minimum speed. It will not ramp up. And remember, if we're reducing the compressor speed, the RPS or RPM of the compressor, that means we're reducing BTU capacity of the outdoor unit, which means we may have auxiliary heat coming on, whereas before we didn't. So just something to keep in mind as we're going through this. We do have an outdoor temperature override. I kind of skipped over it a little bit in the screen grab of my phone. It's also in the app, but you can see the outdoor temperature override here. So we can say, hey, when it gets down to X degrees, we're going to override quiet mode and we're just going to run the system normally. So there's that option as well. The default is -20, but you do have the ability to adjust it as high as 70 degrees outside. So you have -20 to 70 for adjustment on that. And there's the 70 degree. And anywhere in between. So if we go back to the main technician access screen, we were in configuration. Now we're going to move down to test modes. We're going to go into test mode. We're going to scroll down. So this is the top of the screen. We're going to start scrolling down to the bottom of the screen. So we swipe, and we get down a little bit further. Clear down at the bottom of this screen is test mode cool and test mode heat. So we can select day or night, it doesn't matter, and we can hit start. We can also do the same thing in test mode heat. And we're going to go ahead and select start daytime. And right now we're showing daytime is a maximum of 99 RPS, rotations per second. And it's going to stay in this mode for up to 120 minutes, but you can stop at any time. Down at the bottom, we have, again, actual compressor speed. So we can fire up the unit. So right now, it's saying heat running. It's actually going through a wait period right now because my system had just turned off when I entered quiet mode. And if I'd waited a little bit, the compressor speed had come up, and then I could actually adjust compressor speed to whatever I wanted for the requirement, whether I was with a sound inspector or I was with a homeowner who was saying, hey, the unit's too loud at night because we put the unit outside their bedroom window, which probably wasn't the best place to put it in the beginning, but we're at where we're at that point. I would avoid windows as much as possible. They are a mechanical unit. They will ramp up when it's cold outside, and we've been cold here lately. So generally speaking, about 80 to 86 RPS is our max speed right now with equipment. So we can adjust this down. We can adjust it to whatever we want. We can save the adjustments right here. We can also go, hey, reset it back to the factory default value because we forgot where we're at and we want to start over. While we're in the middle of this run cycle, we can also just change right to nighttime RPS. And we can start to adjust it for nighttime and save those as well. So we can have two different speeds, one for daytime, one for nighttime. So we have a lot of adjustability here. So we get that done and we hit the back button. I want you to notice something. It says test quiet mode heat is running down here in the right corner. I've got it circled. I did not stop the test mode, so I need to go back into there and I need to hit the stop button to actually stop the test mode. This is a change from our 1050 systems. When we exited the test mode, it automatically stopped test mode. With the Lynx system, because of some of the things that we can do, we don't immediately stop the test mode when we leave that screen. And it's the same thing with our phone apps, because in the phone apps, if we go through the test mode, we can actually go into the monitor section of the phone app and we can see airflows and pressures and temperatures. And so we have a lot of data that we have access to. And so sometimes we want that data while we're running in test mode. So this is a change for Lynx because of what we can do with it and the testing that we can do. All right. So let's look at homeowners. From the homeowner aspect, once you have enabled quiet mode in the configuration, and this is very important, if you don't enable quiet mode in configuration, the homeowners can enable quiet mode on their stat and it does nothing for them. As the installer, you have to go into configuration, go into energy, and turn on quiet mode, either from the app or from the service menu. Homeowners can enable quiet mode once you have done that. They hit, in my case, I've got it set for heating right here. I touch right there, and it's going to take me into my mode settings. Okay, and one of the settings off to the right is system options. This is where we go for emergency heat. We can enable or disable quiet mode right there. Okay, so the homeowners have some control over this as well after you have set it up. If they try to turn this on before you've enabled it in the system configuration, it doesn't do anything at all. The system continues to run just like normal. And the reason for that is we had some challenges on the 1050 where homeowners would enable quiet mode and then get upset because their auxiliary heat was coming on more often and they didn't understand what quiet mode was, and it caused a lot of call outs for dealers. So the factory said, hey, let's change that and we're going to make it better for the dealer so that homeowners can enable quiet mode, but if the dealer doesn't do it first, it doesn't do anything at all. If a homeowner enables quiet mode, again, go back 2 slides, and the system is restricting the compressor maximum speed, you will have a QM show up right here. So this QM signal right here will show up on the stat here. And that lets the homeowner know, hey, we're restricting the compressor speed because we've enabled quiet mode. If the QM is not on there, it means that either quiet mode is not enabled or the system is not restricting the compressor speed, meaning we need less compressor speed than what this demand is. In my case, you can see when I took this the other night, compressor speed was at 47%. And when I turned on quiet mode, I had quiet mode set too high and it did not activate the restriction. So there's some good things with quiet mode, some updates to it, a new look, a new feel with Lynx, and we're really happy to have this product to be able to provide to you guys. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or ask a question in the chat. So the question is, if a homeowner turns on or off quiet mode, will it stay during all schedules? So quiet mode is scheduled from daytime is 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and of course nighttime is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So if they turn on quiet mode, it does stay active throughout their entire schedule based on whether they need daytime or nighttime quiet mode. But they will only get the quiet mode symbol if we're actually restricting compressor speed. When will Gensco receive link controls with 9.0 pre-installed? That's a little bit variable because the factory will need to work through their current stock of 8.1 software controls as well as Gensco. My best guess is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of March-ish. Depends on a lot of factors there. So that one's a tough one to nail down. As soon as you see the last digit of the model number of the link controls go from an F to a G, you will know that you are receiving 9.0 software. On the new 5 TEM, it would not run the unit until the firmware was updated. That is correct. Yes. On the 5 TEM, 5 TAM-X, you will not be able to run the system. You have to update the system. And this is something we talked about in all of our link training, that you may have to update the system whenever there's new products or new features. Can the quiet mode start and end time be adjusted? At this point, not yet. It's not to say that it won't be in the future, but right now it is a set time. And what time does day and night quiet mode turn on? I believe I already discussed that. 10 p.m. starts nighttime. Daytime is 7 a.m. Any changes to quiet mode on the 1050? Not at this time. Quiet mode on the 1050 is where it's at today and will probably remain that way through the remainder of the life of that control. Well, looks like the questions have come to a close. I'll wait around just a couple more minutes if any others pop in. Everyone, thank you for coming. Hope this was informative for you. Hope everything was good information and usable for your team. I've been asked about a copy of the slides. We will work on getting this posted to Gensco customer in the coming days. We'll post the video to Gensco customer as well as the slides.